This is Piers Morgan Live. Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. Tonight, our special look at America's biggest cash crop, marijuana, and the growing battle to legalize it. On one side, those who say that taxing it would help the government's fiscal problems. On the other, those who call it a gateway drug that leads to even greater danger. Taking a hit, that's January Thomas, one of the marijuana moms I spoke to earlier. They say it makes them better parents, but can it? And what are the medical facts of weed? With me now is CNN Chief Medical Correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, who's working on a documentary about marijuana, and addiction expert and psychologist Howard Samuels, the founder and CEO of the Hills Treatment Center. Let me bring in Howard Samuels now. Obviously, you run a big treatment center, you're an addiction expert, and you're a psychologist. So you deal at the sharp end of people who have serious problems. What is your view of this whole debate?
Well, without question, I think legalizing marijuana would be a huge mistake, okay? I treat a lot of people that come in very addicted to marijuana. I've smoked it every day for years. I see anxiety disorders, I see panic attacks, I see huge inability to deal with feelings in a healthy way. You know, the young adults today, to learn how to deal with feelings, you need to learn how to express anger, hurt feelings, and when you medicate and numb them with marijuana, you push all those feelings down.
But here's what I would say to you, is that that is also true of numerous prescription drugs.
Without question. And I'm against those also, okay?
Right.
I mean, this country needs and wants to get loaded. This is what this whole debate's about.
Well, this country...
I mean, what are we doing?
Well, this country is already seriously medicated. I mean, Sanjay did a brilliant documentary about the medication of America, which I found startling.
Right.
But then you go to all these stores and you see the stuff racked up.
This is where the problem is.
It's big business.
Is everybody wants to check out in this country, whether it's marijuana, whether it's alcohol, whether it's prescription. That's what this whole fight is about. What are we doing? I mean, what do I tell my 12-year-old who says to me, hey, Dad, I thought marijuana was bad for you, and they're talking about legalizing it.
Okay, let me get back to Sanjay. Sanjay, what is your reaction to what Howard Samuel says there?
Look, I mean, he's picking a very safe path here. I'm against all of it, is essentially what he's saying. Look, I'm not in love with I have young children. I'm not in love with the idea of, you know, a parent being, you know, high on marijuana when they're taking care of a small child, as I'm not excited about them being drunk or taking a lot of pain pills. I agree with that part of it. I would ask the doctor, I mean, look, marijuana is a Schedule I substance in this country, put in the same category as something like LSD. Give you a frame of reference, cocaine is a Schedule II substance. Do you think it should be a Schedule I substance? And
you see, that to me sounds absolutely ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. There should be no way that people should be going to prison for marijuana or heroin or cocaine. We need to have treatment centers so we can treat the addiction and decriminalize the drugs. There's no question about that.
So you would decriminalize all drugs?
No, I wouldn't make them legal. There would have to be some kind of misdemeanor, because what am I going to do? Tell my children that marijuana and heroin is as safe as an aspirin?
So you would fine people, but you wouldn't imprison them?
Absolutely.
Sanjay, I don't know if you've touched on that at all, Sanjay, in your documentary, but in terms of the way America is now trying to legislate this, what do you think is the most sensible course of action?
You know, if I sound a little bit up in arms about it, I find it a little bit irresponsible, and that we've maybe been denying people some pretty effective, potentially, medications here for so long, and I cannot understand the reason why.
Okay, but final word to you, Howard Samuels.
Okay, but I think those medications are for pain and health, not emotional issues. There is no question that marijuana and all these drugs create serious emotional issues in young people, and that is my greatest concern.
Let me ask you one point about that, Sanjay. This thing about the age that people take marijuana, is there scientific research that supports the theory that if you're under 25, it can have more effect on you emotionally, psychologically, than when you're over 25?
I haven't seen those studies. I don't know if there's been studies done. You obviously have your own anecdotal experience, but, you know, the moral equivalence, Piers, that I think you've done a brilliant job of sort of creating here, how is it compared to some of the other things that they're also exposed to? And I don't think that's
because you see, that to me... Right, and that to me is the key to the debate. If it, in the end, doesn't have a worse effect than tobacco or alcohol, the argument against legalization, to me, falls apart. And that's where I think some of these states are now coming from.
And I totally understand that, but what is our response is that we keep on making drugs legal that aren't really have a tremendous amount of benefit. I mean, aren't we being irresponsible to our children in setting them up to have another thing out there so they can get more dysfunctional and have more problems emotionally?
Well,
I mean, don't we have a responsibility to that?
I think we do have a responsibility, and I think I'm looking forward, I must say, to seeing Sanjay's documentary on weed. It'll air this August on CNN. Sanjay Gupta, Howard Samuels, thank you both very much.
Thank you.